Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're going to talk about... the hell is it? Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're going to talk about the Sony A6500.
This is going to be a comprehensive review.
My name's
Shut up!
If I'm talking weird, it's because I've got this bloody ulcer on my lip and it hurts like shit. First of all, if you're into photography, don't watch this video. Stop right now. Just buy yourself the cheapest DSLR that you can find and invest all of your money on a prime lens. Why a prime lens? Go ahead and check out my previous video where I explain why you should just get a prime lens. Just do it. Now, I don't know anything about the specs, the numbers. I just know that, you can shoot really good video on it, and I want to talk about a few things that you might encounter while you're shooting or while you're using the Sony A6500. Now, I want to talk about the biggest plus point this camera has, which is the form factor and the size and the fact that it's very light. Now, initially when I got this camera, I was very disappointed about this. I was very reluctant because it was a tiny camera. I used to shoot on a A7iii, which is a very chunky DSLR camera. And just like everybody else, I thought that, okay, if it's a smaller, tiny camera, it's not going to perform as well. I'm going to get bad picture quality. And that's how a majority of people think. Like, even clients, when they see you walking into a set and you're carrying a tiny Sony camera or a mirrorless camera, they're a little skeptical because these cameras are associated like with tourists and dads trying to take selfies and stuff like that. So until they see the final product, it's a little. But later on, as I started shooting, I started appreciating the fact that this was a light, small camera, simply because, well, mainly videography and photography is a freelance gig for me. I also have a day job, so when I leave home from one of my freelance gigs, or most of the time it's not, that day is not dedicated simply for photography work. I have to go to work and then on the side I do freelance work, so I have to pack for the entire day. So having a tiny space to fit all my gear in helps a lot, and I really fell in love with the fact that it was small. I could just shove it in my bag along with my gear and just use one bag for my entire day and not carry 2-3 bags for a photography gig. Apart from it looking really small and not looking the part, when you're using lighter gear, especially for video, because there's no weight to hold the camera down, it introduces a lot of camera shake when you're shooting video, especially when you're using telephoto lenses or using anything over 50 millimeters. It adds a lot of jittering. Luckily, the A6500 does have a little bit of in-body image stabilization, but it still creeps into video as shakes all the time, especially when you're walking. It gets in there. Ow, itchy, ow. Now when you're shooting video for 3 hours straight, your arms are tiring out and you can't take any breaks. Like for example, photography, you take the shot, you put the camera down, you take the next shot. But when you're shooting video, you have to just hold it up for such a long time. It's so exhausting. And when you have a tiny camera, the overall weight reduces. A few grams off here and there helps a lot in the long run, especially when you're at a tiring shoot. The second thing I really want to highlight in this camera is the value you get for your money. If I was to find a Canon equivalent, I love Canon cameras, but if I were to find a Canon equivalent spec wise, I have to spend 800,000 or more to get the Canon 1DX, simply because I really needed 120 frames per second. This is only 220,000. In comparison, it's like a huge step up and is a bang for your buck. You can shoot 120 frames per second at 1080. I recently did a video on why I switched from Canon to Sony, and I explained why that's so important to me. So go ahead and check that video out as well if you haven't already. So yeah, size, form factor, and the fact that you can shoot really slow motion video at 1080p are the biggest plus points for me. Okay, now it's time to nitpick. I've never seen anything else in life or society that is more out of place than the record button on this camera. I have no idea who decided to put put it here, and not only is it in the wrong place, it sits flush to the camera body, so you can't really feel for it. If you're shooting if you're shooting with one eye on the electric viewfinder, you literally have to take your head off to click the record button, because you can't feel for it. It literally has no feeling, and that slows you down a lot. And sometimes you don't click it, you have to, and the button, I don't know, it's the worst button that's on this camera. You have to like press it in really hard. Sometimes you have to use the tip of your fingernail to like hit it. It's absolutely frustrating. Now I know you can reassign the shutter button to record video for you, but I also take pictures and I need that as well. Biggest issue that I have with this camera is where they've located the card, the SD card slot. It's at the bottom right next to the battery. Now on the Canon A7iii and the Nikon that I used to shoot, it was always on the side. When you're shooting video, you're almost never going handheld. It's strapped onto some like rig. It's either a tripod, a monopod, or a gimbal. So you have to take it out or unscrew it from these supports just to get to the SD card. And when you're in a situation where you run out of storage space and you need to swap out the cards, it's a nightmare. And especially if you're on a gimbal, once you take it off, you have to put it back on and rebalance it, and that takes 30 seconds more. It's absolutely a horrible experience. Luckily on the A7 III that I'm using, they've put it on the sides and I don't have to take anything off to remove it. But still, Sony keeps getting it wrong. Every time, for me to check what card I have in the camera, in my Canon and my Nikon, I just have to like take it out a little bit and the label is out there. But on the Sonys, it's always put in backwards, and when you take the card out, it's showing the back of the card and you can't read any details on it. You have to physically remove the card from the camera to see if you've got the right card in there. And these things add up when you're shooting video for a long time and somebody's paying you to get the shot. These things add up to a hefty list of issues. Guys, I forgot to talk about the screen on the 6500 while I was recording it, which is why I'm going handheld right now. The screen is literally non-existent if you're shooting outdoors. It absolutely does not work. You see that compared to the Canon A7iii, when it's pointed at the same light source, you literally cannot see anything on the Sony camera. It literally glares so much. It's so reflective. You cannot use it outdoors. It's simply non-existent. I want to end things by saying, guys, if you're planning on upgrading to the Sony A6500, definitely go ahead. It's a camera that offers a lot more for the money, especially if you look at the Canon cameras and the Nikon cameras that are out there. It's a lot of value for the money that you're paying. But if you are starting out for the first time, I would suggest that you wait out a bit. Get a cheaper camera and learn how to edit videos, because post-production is almost 70 to 80% of the overall video. How you tell the story, whether you tie in the clips together, how you edit, or how you color grade. But initially, if you're not doing client work and if you're not getting paid, spend a lot of time on how to use these editing softwares: Premiere Pro, After Effects, Photoshop, Lightroom. Once you've got these editing softwares in your arsenal and you saved up for a while, then you can go ahead and invest and buy an expensive camera. And cameras evolve so fast. Every year there's a new camera, and it might actually help if you wait a little longer, because you might be spending the same amount of money that you might spend today. You might spend it in a year and you'd probably get better technology. For example, when I initially wanted to buy a Sony or get into the whole Sony ecosystem, it was only the A6300 that was out, and I'm so glad I waited a while longer, because the 6300 and the 6500, they're pretty significant, the difference, and I'm so glad I saved up and didn't spend on the 6300 and went straight to the 6500. So it might be worth it for you to wait out a little bit longer. Guys, if you found this video useful or informative in any way, go ahead and subscribe. I'm planning on doing the same for the A7iii that I'm shooting on right now. Once I have a little bit more field experience, I'm gonna get on that and make sure I make a video about that. Hit the like button, leave a comment, and I'll see you guys in the next one.